Welcome to another election analysis. This time, I'll be looking at the Missouri gubernatorial election. So let's get started with my takeaways. First off, Governor Parson beat Democratic challenger Nicole Galloway by 16.4%, riding the coattails of Donald Trump. Parson got 57.1%, Trump got 56.8% of the vote. The story of this election, however, starts with 2016, the year when Missouri elected Governor Eric Greitens after 8 years of a Democratic governor. After several scandals and threats of impeachment from state legislators, Greitens resigned on May 29, 2018, despite claiming innocence. Then Lieutenant Governor Mike Parson became governor to finish Greitens' term. He filed to run for re-election on February 25, 2020. Parson was challenged by Democratic State Auditor Nicole Galloway, Libertarian Rick Combs, and Green candidate Jerome Bauer. This was an important election because the winner will have the ability to appoint as many as 3 seats on the state Supreme Court. Missouri ended up re-electing Governor Parson. Voters also give him Republican majorities in the state House and state Senate. Green candidate Jerome Bauer won twice as much support as the Green presidential candidate Howie Hawkins, but he still came in 4th place, which was 0.57% of the vote. This is the Democrats' worst loss in Missouri gubernatorial election since 1988. Missouri is a red state, but Democrats have been able to win here. Not too long ago, in 2008 and 2012, Governor Jay Nixon did very well in rural Missouri. This was the map from his 2008 victory. This was his 2012 victory. And then in 2018, Democratic State Auditor Nicole Galloway won over 50% of the vote and prevailed in key Republican-leaning population centers like Springfield down here, Cape Girardeau over there, and Jefferson City down here. Just 2 years later, November 2020, the same candidate, Nicole Galloway, had a much weaker result. So, as you can see, from 2008 to 2020, Missouri has dramatically changed, especially looking at rural parts of the state where Democrats are now really struggling to be able to break through. And even look at population centers. Look at Springfield down here. Look at Cape Girardeau and St. Genevieve. Look at Jefferson City. Democrats have to do better there. Look at St. Joseph up here, St. Charles up here. Democrats have to do better in these Republican-leaning population centers. Galloway did well in Democrats' 3 strongholds, Kansas City, Columbia, and St. Louis, but couldn't piece together her winning coalition from 2018. And, when you look at this map, this is the target map, right? This is what a Democratic victory in Missouri looks like. And so they just need to work to try and achieve this particular type of results, where they win St. Charles, St. Genevieve, Springfield, and do very well along I-70 in counties like Jackson and Platte, just outside Kansas City. Trump was popular in Missouri. Was Trump on the ballot? It was tough for down-ballot Democrats like Galloway and Jill Shupp to break through. Red Missouri is getting redder. Blue Missouri is getting bluer. Missouri leans Republican by default. At the end of the day, Missouri elections come down to the independent and moderate voters in the middle, who also lean Republican. A Democrat really needs to stand out and give these voters reasons to split the ticket. Biden did a lot better than Hillary in many of Missouri's population centers, but as rural Missouri drifts to the right, it didn't really help. And these are the shifts from 2016 to 2020, Hillary to Biden. As you can see, he did a lot better in St. Louis, in particular St. Charles County. He gained about 9 points there. He did a lot better in Metro Kansas City. He did better in Columbia. He did better in Jefferson City. He did better in Springfield, Joplin, and Neosho down here. Cape Girardeau over there. Honestly, I'm not sure what's going on here, but he did gain ground in those counties. But as you can see, the boot heel continues to drift to the right. That used to be a Democratic stronghold. We'll talk about the boot heel later in this video. So demographically, it's tough for the Democrats to win in Missouri because it's 9% more white, 2 years older, and 13% less Hispanic than the country as a whole. It also doesn't help the Missouri Democrats that 865,000 residents of the Kansas City Metro live on the Kansas side, which is 40% of the MSA, the Metropolitan Statistical Area. As you can see, all of these people here live in Kansas. It also doesn't help the Missouri Democrats that 686,000 residents of Greater St. Louis live on the Illinois side. That's 24% of the St. Louis metro area. Missouri Democrats need a bigger coalition. Rural Missouri is now deep red, and highly populated counties like St. Charles, Greene, Clay, Platte, and Jefferson are all voting Republican. So St. Charles, that's St. Charles. Greene County is Springfield, Clay's just outside of Kansas City. Jefferson is also a highly populated red county in the state. Democrats have lost crucial support in rural areas like the Boot Heel. So the Boot Heel is this little peninsula down here in southeastern Missouri. As you can see, it used to be a Democratic stronghold. So these are the maps from 2000, 2004, 2008, 2012, 2016, and 2020 gubernatorial elections in the state. As you can see, 2000, Democrats did very well in the Boot Heel. Once again, in 04, once again in 08, once again in 2012, Jay Nixon. And then over the past two elections, the Democrats have really struggled in the Boot Heel, and it's even turned into a Republican stronghold. I highly suggest that y'all read the article, the editorial. What does it mean to be rural in Missouri in 2020? This is a really, really good illustration of why Trump is doing so well in rural Missouri in these areas that have been forgotten. Much of rural Missouri has experienced dramatic population losses. All of these red counties here have lost a lot of population since 1900. Now, this map is population change since 1960. Notice that anywhere north of I-70, which is this line right here, these counties have really taken a hard hit, as well as the Boot Heel in particular. So those are my takeaways. Now I want to look at some regional analysis. As you can see, Greater St. Louis and Kansas City together make up about half of the state. And then Southern Missouri is about 13.3%. That includes Springfield, Joplin, and Neosho. Mid-Missouri includes this green slice includes Jefferson City and Columbia. And then the other little slices here are parts of rural Missouri. In Greater Kansas City, the Democrats dominate in Kansas City, but they lost by 5 in each of the suburban counties, Clay, Platte, and Jackson. So that's Kansas City. In mid-Missouri, Democrats won Columbia, but got destroyed in Jefferson City, only winning 30% of the vote. Mid-Missouri had a lot of counties that voted for Nicole Galloway in 2018. Democrats need to do better in mid-Missouri if they want to win a statewide election. And then Southwest Missouri. Look at Southwest Missouri. Southwest Missouri is home to population centers like Springfield and Joplin, where Democrats are having a lot of trouble. Southwest Missouri makes up over 10% of the state, so they got to do better there. Democrats win 50 to 55% of the vote in the big two metro areas, Greater Kansas City and Greater St. Louis, but that only makes up half of the state. They're usually only winning about 25% of the vote in rural Missouri. So the math just doesn't add up. They have to do better in rural Missouri and in these mid-sized cities. Republicans gained a lot of ground everywhere, but Democrats kept the swings down in the Kansas City area. And then the Boot Heel had poor turnout, but so did cities like St. Louis and Kansas City. And even just for Democrats, if they turn out better in Kansas City and St. Louis, they can have a better election night. And then looking at some of the statewide results, as you can see, St. Louis County is just huge. St. Louis City and Kansas City down here are overwhelmingly Democrat. But look at all these red counties here: St. Charles, Jackson, Greene, Jefferson, Clay, that are very highly populated. That's a problem for Democrats. And that's the reason why they're not winning in Missouri. As you can see, Democrats only have a few good counties. A lot of these counties, they're less than 25%, which is unacceptable. They got to do better than that. And as you can see, a big cluster of counties that are overwhelmingly Republican. Then you got St. Louis County, which is about 59% Democrat. You got Boone County, which is about 53% Democrat. And then St. Louis and Kansas City. There are a few competitive Republican counties in this cluster, so that's Boone, or sorry, not Boone. Boone is here. That would be Platte, Jackson, Clay, and St. Charles. If Democrats did a little bit better here, their statewide results would be much stronger. If Democrats can target these counties aggressively, as well as 60% Republican Greene County, which is highly populated, they could significantly improve their vote share and potentially even win elections again in Missouri. As you can see, Republicans are up and Democrats are down. Low turnout in St. Louis and Kansas City really hurt the Democrats. Democrats are very dependent on St. Louis and Kansas City. Combined, they make up 43% of the Democratic statewide base. You can clearly see that big green circle where St. Louis is. And look at Democrats struggling. All these red dots in rural Missouri signifies that they are having some issues really drumming up support. The most common vote percentage for the Democrats was between 18 and 25. That's not good. Almost half of Missouri's counties fit into that range, 51 to be exact. Look at that. They only have one county where they gain ground. Democrats lost over 10% from 2016 in many counties. As you can see, the Republicans' popular vote chart is a lot more balanced, and they are way less dependent on St. Louis and Kansas City than the Democrats. Libertarian Rick Combs did break 3% in 4 counties: Cooper, Iron, Johnson, and Madison. The Greens, like the Democrats, were very dependent on urban Missouri. The Greens did gain ground in one Northwest Missouri county, but lost 1% in most of the rest. So yeah, that's just about it. Thanks for tuning in to this video. More videos will be coming soon.